Welcome, everybody. My name's Jill. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic, and you are in the Big Book Breakdown. Tonight, we are on step 11, continuing from last week. At the bottom of page 86, the paragraph beginning in thinking about our day. And just to quickly recap, last week we discussed what we do in the paragraph at the top of the page, which says when we retire at night. And then we talked about asking God for forgiveness and or your higher power. So when I say HP, I'm referring to my higher power, but it's also your understanding of what a higher power is for you. So you'll often hear me say HP instead of God because it's your concept of God. So I'm reiterating that this isn't a religious program, it's a spiritual program. And we're really going to get into that tonight. So without further ado, Bethany, do you want to kick us off on the bottom of page 86?
Sure. Hi, thank you so much for this meeting, Jill. I'm Bethany, alcoholic. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it.
Thank you, Bethany. Okay, so this is an introduction to step 11. Now, you may have been doing this for a long time, but really what we're trying to do here is break down exactly what the guiding steps are here for what we're to do in our morning meditation. And you know that we read this every morning in Meditate at 8. And like a lot of things, it can just start to be something that we read and on autopilot, or we don't hear it anymore. Because even the Serenity Prayer can sound like that sometimes to us, or just even saying, I'm an alcoholic, without really thinking about the fact that every time we say that, we're taking our step 1. So, step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him. So, HP, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Now, pay attention to what it's saying there. Pray only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. So, and it also says very specifically through prayer and meditation. So, going back to this paragraph, every time I wake up in the morning, I'm an alcoholic. My looping thinking, my my obsessive thinking, whether it is directed to alcohol or other substances or not, is also a part of my disease. And one thing I found really in common with people in these rooms is the comfort of knowing that your brain works like mine does. So nod if any of this sounds familiar to you. I get a thought and I start looping on it. And the thought starts to become a lot more important and seem a lot bigger than when it's broken down in reality. It actually is. Then I add a little drama to it. Then I might start thinking, if I'm thinking of one negative thing, then I'm going to think of 3 or 4 other negative things that are going on in my life because I might as well get really dramatic about this. And so it goes on, obsessive thinking. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Whether it's about alcohol or drugs or about people or about resentment or about life or politics. Have you got that sort of brain? You might just be an alcoholic. So what we're doing in here is learning how we get out of that looping thinking. And I need to do this every morning. So I start pretty, it says we may, in thinking about our day, we may face indecision. It's not for me to decide. That's the natural course of things. So we said last week that we were going to write down on our list at the end of the day anything that we needed to clear up the following day. And then we're going to add to that in the morning the to-do lists of what our intentions are, because we have to function. We have to work. We have to be part of whatever social group or whatever employment situation we find ourselves in. We have to function to survive. And so when I wake up, I immediately have my self-will back because I'm an alcoholic and I have untreated alcoholism that I wake up with. So I may not be able to determine which course to take. The reason I can't is because when I wake up, I've got to do a bit of work to get on my HP's wavelength. I got to get connected. So then it's saying, I just ask. This is what our meditation and prayer is. Here we ask HP for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. Okay, I'm asking. And then it says immediately, we relax and take it easy because the answer is in HP's time. It's not in my time. I may throw it out there and say, I need an answer to this right now. I got to deal with this today. This is Jill putting her will back into place. We relax and take it easy. So if you've got wake up in the morning or there's something on your list there that you're looping on, you ask for a decision. I ask for a thought. And then notice it says, I ask for inspiration or an intuitive thought. And then we later say, this becomes a working part of the mind. So our instinct and our intuition grow in this step. This is where we're making a closer connection and conscious contact with our HP. And this is part of the action that we do on a daily basis. You know how it says faith without works is dead? The chapters are called Into Action that we find this. This is the action that we're taking. So the meditation and prayer is to get out of our self-will and get into our HP's will. And then it says we don't struggle because the step 11 prayer and the point of it is to dissolve the ego, to get out of the I, to get rid of the I ultimately, and to accept and experience that there is only a higher power. Now, that's like Amy was talking about the God muscle, the higher power muscle. When I come in here, and it says this right at the very beginning, we're new to this, right? So it's not necessarily going to be easy. We can't necessarily connect at our first attempt at meditation and prayer. We may not even be comfortable starting the practice. And that's why our daily morning group, Meditate at 8, is so good at giving us a forum and a daily routine that if we haven't done it ourselves upon awakening, we read the very words that we're now analyzing. But next time you hear them, I want you to consider each sentence. And this is direction. You're being told, relax and take it easy. So if you're doing a meditation, for example, like a lot of them are that are about the breathing in, breathing out, what we're looking for is the space between the breaths. The place where we're not thinking. You don't have to think to inhale and exhale, but what we're trying to get to is to that place where we're in the pause, where we're doing nothing. And I find that really hard. And I found, after 3 years of doing this, that I still have as much success as I put effort into it. If I'm doing other things, if I'm distracted, I completely miss out on the meditation. I don't give myself that opportunity to get connected to my higher power because I'm in self-will. I'm not paying attention. So I have 3 words on a post-it that have been around for years. Be here now. Be present. And in this world of cell phones and social media and computers and multitasking, how many times are you in a room and you are not present? So if you're going to show up for your morning prayer meditation, part of the into action is training yourself to be present. So then it says we don't struggle because only step 1 can be practiced perfectly. Only step 1 can be done 100%. In step 11, we're new to this and we're working at it, and we're going to get, like any of these steps, as much out of it as we put into it. So these are very clear directions. And then it says, we're often surprised how the answers have come after we've tried this for a while. Notice it says tried this for a while. Are you actually trying to meditate or trying to pray? Are you making a conscious effort to connect to your HP? It's like anything. You can go to AA meetings and sit in the back room or come in here and have your screen off and never ever interact with us, and we're none the wiser for who you are, and you won't get to know us. So you, by us not fully participating and being present, we actually deny ourselves a certain quality in that relationship. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? I like it when you guys nod because, we're trying to connect. And so, like any relationship that we're developing, it's going to take some energy and effort on our part. And the relationship and the quality that we're going to have with HP is going to be directly proportional to the amount of work that we put into building the relationship. It's no different than any relationship. So but by going through this practice and seeking, my experience is I found him. Was quite to my surprise. But by staying still, and Ron, I love the meditation that you repeat each time you're hosting because it's almost like going into a trance now. I know what to expect. I love that particular one, putting my hand on my heart and head. I'll share that one with you guys later. But I like the repetition. We're creatures of routine. And notice then at the top of 87, I love this. What used to be the hunch, like, oh, I'm kind of getting this, or the occasional, I'm getting this inspiration, it gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Now, what does that mean? Well, I've got a God muscle. So I'm keep flexing this, right? And it's going to get stronger and stronger. And again, that's my experience, that after a while, by living between the breaths, by doing nothing, by just sitting in the presence of my HP, I get centered. And ultimately what my goal is to do nothing and be in the presence of God or my higher power. And at that point, I'm receptive to receive directions. But it's only when Jill gets out of her own way that is her mind and heart open to take direction. And that took a lot of practice for me. You guys are probably quicker studies than me. And then it says, being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God. So, you've heard this week, there have been people who've shared experiences there. They've had their first experience of feeling they had their own HP instead of borrowing their sponsors, that they finally had something happen that they just couldn't deny, that there was something else working with them. So they're just making conscious contact with God. So it's not probable that they're going to go around in this euphoric state that they've recently just experienced of making a connection all the time. That's unrealistic. Oh, praise the Lord or whatever every second of the day and feeling connected and directed is not my experience. It may be yours. And it may be of in a religious context. But what I My experience has been more along what these lines are suggesting, that I gradually became inspired and connected. And it's a promise here. So this line, nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, and notice it says, as time passes. Don't rate yourself on the meditation, uh, you know, top 10 list. It's not where you rank and how good you are at meditating towards other people. This is your own connection with your own HP. It's a work in progress. And as time passes, you're going to be more and more on the plane of inspiration. And then it says, we come to rely upon it. Absolutely. So notice in that one paragraph on 87, 3 times, and Bill doesn't do this by accident, we've got the word inspire. Okay, it was at the bottom of page 86 as well. There was, we ask God for inspiration. And then he also uses the word intuitive. And then 3 times in 87, we've got inspiration, inspired, and inspiration again. So this is what this is about. So doing nothing in the presence of God, HP, and letting HP give the direction. Okay, let's move on. Amy, you're back in charge here, picking people to read. We're on the paragraph we usually conclude on page 87.
Okay. Leela, did you want to read? Whoa, my screen just changed.
Yeah, so page 87, reading up till when?
Just
one
this next
paragraph
paragraph, starting with we usually conclude.
Okay. We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self-will and are careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why.
Okay, so this is the object of what we're doing. This is what we're asking for. All through the day, show me, guide me. What's my next step? Give me whatever I need to take care of such problems. There isn't any guarantee that this is going to become immediately. This isn't a prayer to Santa Claus and tomorrow morning you're going to have a present. We're asking that we be shown. We're asking for direction. But what we're asking for especially, and notice that word especially, the top thing, the whole context of what we're asking is to be free from self-will. And this is why I said at the beginning, step 11 is based on getting rid of the I, the dissolution of the ego. And it reinforces this when it directs us and says, make no request for myself only. Because then if I do, I'm back into self-will. I can ask for the tools to help you. I can ask for the motivation and guidance to look after my family and my friends. You can ask, think about, now make this personal. Make this personal. You know what you need. You're asking for the tools to what you want to accomplish for other people. Not that you get enough money to buy that new thing you just saw, that new car or whatever, that's for self only. But if you're asking for the car so that your whole family can enjoy getting from A to B, but I also understand this isn't about asking for anything physical or material. What we're asking is that we're given whatever is necessary to help other people. And whatever that looks like for you. And this is in the next paragraph, we're going to get into what I think is often missed when we read this. So we're careful to never pray for our own selfish ends. And we know what happens if it's all me, me, me. It ends in tears. Okay, so what I do, and my sponsor loves to say this, and I've written it on the right-hand side of this paragraph, is report for duty. I turn up in the morning and I say, okay, it's Jill HP. I'm reporting for duty. Here's kind of what I'd like to accomplish today. Here's my to-do list. Let's see what sort of joke you can make of this. And I'm going to get directed in my higher power's direction. But I start out with a plan. I put myself out there. I do all the necessary practical things to execute that plan. And then I turn it over to HP to help me do it. Okay, so next paragraph, please.
Leela, do you want to read again, or do you want someone else?
Sure.
Someone else, Miles or somebody? It doesn't matter to me.
I can continue.
Okay.
If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer.
Okay, so this one is surprisingly not paid a lot of attention to. Okay, so first of all, if your situation is such that you've got someone else in your life you want to share a meditation with, this is old language. We ask our wives or friends, anyone in your life that you want to share a meditation with, ask them to join you. I've done that on occasion, and it's been a really powerful experience when I've been with, a friend in this program and we've been together on the morning meditation. If we can stay focused and not chat too much, it's quite a cool thing to do it in the presence of others. But I do this with you every morning online. Okay, so then it says, if we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning of devotion, we attend to that also. So if you're religious and you belong to a certain church and you've got a certain protocol or certain prayers that are your morning prayers, by all means, attend to that also. But it's not about religious prayers are the only way that this is done. And the kind of prayer is, the next sentence is key. And I want you to really hear this the next time you hear this whole section read out. It says, select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles. Now circle the word principles and draw an arrow back to the last paragraph where it says, freedom from self-will, no request for ourselves only. Those are the principles. So whatever prayer you want to have in the morning, the whole point is to be out of self, out of ego, freedom from self-will. So look at that paragraph above and highlight that and circle it. Freedom from self-will. We ask especially for freedom from self-will. We're careful to make no request for ourselves only. I really want you to understand, this whole process is about getting out of self. Whatever your HP looks like to you, this whole exercise is to get out of, it's really dissolution of the ego. Now, I don't want you to take ego as in a bad way. Ego serves us well for survival, but this is selfishness we're talking about. We want to get out of thinking we can run the show, we can be the director. We want to get to a place where we can take directions. Okay? So emphasize the principles we have been discussing. Make up your own prayers. Have things that are useful to you, that are meaningful to you. This is just like your HP. Tailor make it to yourself, what works for you. Then it says there's also lots of helpful books. And then refer to other religious people and such for guidance. And there's the suggested prayers in AA, which I've recorded on the website aaamen.com. So listen to those and then write your own. These are guidelines, these are suggestions. And we know that the big book was based on the Oxford group and the original prayers. And, you know, there we go. Reading the prayers is part of getting into just the mindset of being guided. Okay, so now we're going to go to the bottom of page 87 and start with a paragraph as we go through the day.
Do you want me to
I was
continue
going to
reading?
see if Miles wanted to read. Sorry, I flipped over to the prayers on the site.
My friends, Miles, alcoholic. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done." We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It
Okay,
really
so
does.
let's stop there for a second, Miles. So now we're moving into a new phase of our meditation and prayer. So we've done on awakening, and now this is so we stay connected to our HP throughout the day. So this is, again, very clear-cut directions how we're going to manage this as we go through the day. Again, it's saying pause. And going back over to the bottom of 86, you saw before we were told to pause there again. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. So again, this is what I was talking about centering ourselves, about being in between the breaths, about finding peace. It's the pause between the conscious thoughts. And that cannot be created by ourselves, but it can be experienced if we practice this meditation over and over again. It's an experience, not something that we just go, okay, right, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to find peace, go. And in 3 minutes, you feel yourself levitating and you're at one with the world. Well, if it's worked for you that way, I'm envious, because this is something I've really had to work for. But remember, what we're after is that peace. We don't want to be up here with an artificial substance. We don't want to be down here with an artificial substance. We want to be in a state of ease, not in a state of being in our disease of alcoholism, our disease of addiction. We want to be at ease. We want to feel level-minded, level-headed, neither too high nor neither too low. Now, truthfully, as an alcoholic addict, I really enjoyed being here and for when it worked. And I really enjoyed the drama to get even higher if it wasn't high enough. And then I couldn't sleep, and then I had to rebalance and try do something else to get back down here, but I was never here. Well, guess where here is? It's the human condition. It's how we're born. And then we do all this stuff to get ourselves messed up, screw up our brains where we're up here, down here, and then we don't even know what a real feeling or a real emotion is anymore, because we're relying on something else other than our HP to be at ease. Another word for being at ease is peace. So peace for me is the pause between the conscious thoughts. And again, I can't create that. I have to experience it. And in order to experience it, I have to keep setting myself up in these situations where I allow myself the time to stop and be here now. Okay, so it also says that we are not going to be agitated, and we haven't got there yet. Okay, carry on. Let's go to the next bit.
You got it, Miles? You want to keep going?
Yeah. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. But this is not all. There is action, more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12.
Okay, so this last paragraph at the top of 88 is where we are really turning it over. Okay, we're no longer, look at the top of 88 and circle those words. I'm no longer running the show. I'm humbly. Humbly is to get out of self. I'm humbly saying to myself and to others many times throughout the day, HPs will be done, not chills. And where I find myself in points of conflict, I have learned to pause, be here now, reflect, and wait for the answer. Now, here's a little practical tip in today's crazy world. If you get a text or an email or a message that has you being in a state of dis-ease, you've got some options. You can drink on it, use on it. You can react spontaneously without reflecting on it and be in total self-will, and potentially end up in an argument and a state of dis-ease. Or, and again, here's exercising your God muscle. You can sit back and you can go, okay, wow, that just happened. That is bringing up feelings for me. And if you're an alcoholic or an addict like me, I don't like feeling. So what I used to do and became my go-to, because I did it time and time again, as soon as I would start to feel those feelings, I would take something. You know, I always was looking for the answer in the bottom of a bottle, whether it was a pill bottle or whether it was a bottle of wine, bottle of booze. The answer was always, I got to take something. Now, I've learned from practice and repetition to pause, reflect, meditate, pray on it, and let it go. And gradually, this has become my go-to. Now, think about all the years that you've been drinking and using on emotions to not feel them. And think about how many times that pattern of behavior has been reinforced. That was my go-to. Oh my God, here comes a feeling. I better have a drink. Oh my God, here comes a feeling. I better take that pill. And then I might be having a feeling and I'd go, that feeling's not high enough. That feeling's not exhilarated enough, or that's not, I'm out somewhere and I'm not feeling it. So I've got to take something else. So I was constantly chasing a feeling by not feeling, by letting some substance be my higher power, by letting some chemical that didn't belong in my body, or some ethyl alcohol that I wasn't designed and certainly know today that I'm allergic to. That's my go-to. Do that time after time. Now think about yourself. How many times have you done that? So now multiply that by all the times you've done it, and you see that's your pattern of behavior. So it's in step 11 on a daily basis that we're reprogramming our brain. We're actually, and it's been proven, now this is just my version, this is not AA, but they're showing that in neuroplasticity, that people who stop drinking and using form new connections in their brain. New parts of your brain are going to light up. I call that my HP. I mean, that's what's going on in my brain. HP's going in there and making all sorts of new connections in my brain because I burnt the other ones. And this is how I'm able to not drink, because I now turn to my higher power and say, okay, I can't handle this situation. I don't know how to react to this right now. So I'm just going to think on it and turn it over to you. So just try it. Next time you get that text or that phone call, you don't have to reply right away. Pray on it, meditate on it. And that's what it's asking us to do here. Again, it said at the bottom of the page, as we go through the day, we pause. When we're agitated or doubtful, we ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we're no longer running the show, humbly saying many times during the day, if you're having a particularly bad one, okay, HP, your will be done. Not Jill's, because as soon as I get back into self-will and I get back into, here it is, fear, anger, worry, self-pity. What are those? Character defects. As soon as I allow myself to go back into thinking I'm the directing, what is the result? A foolish decision. I may drink again because it's resentments and fears that bring us down and cause us to drink and use again. The other promise here that you might want to notice, and it is a promise, all of these at the top of 88, by the way, are the step 11 promises. You're in much less danger of your character defects. You're in much less danger of drinking again, your foolish decisions. You're going to be more efficient. Why? Because you're not getting tired so easily. You're not burning up all your energy, chasing your tail with your looping brain, getting yourself super dramatic and worked up about stuff that you can't arrange anyway. It works. It really does. That is the big promise. And millions of us have found that that is the story that it's not just a story. This is our reality now. We live in this solution. Then it says we're not disciplined. No, we're not. I mean, I needed to redo everything. I've never used to meditate in the morning, and I sure didn't used to hang around with a bunch of drunks on the internet. But today that's my routine and I love it because you get me and I get you. So I let my HP discipline me in the simple way that I've just been told to do. In other words, I take instructions and I open my mind to doing things a different way, because I have to say, doing things Jill's way didn't work. And then it says in the end that this isn't all, there's more action. And this is where we go into all the chapters on step 12 and how we pass this program on. But I just want to finish here with one last thought. And that is this peace that we are seeking. It is given to us freely if we open our minds and get out of our own way. So in step 2, we said that we were willing to consider this HP concept. And in step 3, we said, okay, I'm going to turn my life, my whole everything over to HP. If you didn't understand HP and you've got a good sponsor, you borrow your sponsor's HP. It's not necessarily the case that you've got to have a really strong understanding or relationship. You just have to have a notion. And then as you get into these action steps, as you've seen with members of the group this week, even just doing the next one, step 4, you start to create this closer relationship and notice these coincidences or God shots, right? Things start to improve for you. So it's given to us freely without striving, but it only comes with practice. We don't just read this step, say a prayer, and everything magically happens. This is a maintenance step, but it's also more than that. This is what I do every day, and it's getting stronger. This is the really cool thing. Like when it says at the very last sentence here that faith without works is dead, the more you put into this, the more profound your experience is going to be in connecting with a power greater than you are. And as you can see from everything else that you've done in here, think about how much effort and energy you put into getting where you are in your drinking career or in your using career. Think about how much time you spent finding it, hiding it, lying about it, managing it, all, rehabbing it, redoing it, letting it be your higher power. Think about all the thought and time and energy and money that went into that. Now take a proportion of that and put it back into yourself now. Try something new. Be willing to give this a shot because your stinking thinking got you here. And now, even if you've been sober for a long time, up it to the next level. You can take your relationship with your higher power to the only limits that you actually define for yourself. Open your mind. And with that, we can stop recording. That's all I have to say about that tonight. I'd love to hear from you guys.